Hi, friend. Dr. Brook here with another episode of Your Body Speaks. Excited to be sharing with you two more ingings that the body does on a consistent basis to keep you alive, to keep you thriving, and to keep you moving and grooving through life just the way God designed. Today, we are going to be talking about contracting and relaxing of skeletal muscles, as well as connecting. But before I jump into that, I want to briefly share with you what we discussed on last episode if you haven't checked that out already. Two of the C's on the ING theme that we're going through this year. We talked about cleansing and we talked about clearing the body's lymphatic system and cleansing impurities through and then moving it into the detox pathways, into the detox organs to clear it out. These processes are going on constantly. They are not stopping. They are not going on pause. They are constantly happening while life exists inside of you. So today we are going to be talking about, again, skeletal muscle and the nervous system and how those two things are connected. And they do more than just move your body, but they do stabilize, they energize, and they communicate. Those systems are communicating. Your body is constantly communicating through different systems, through all those ways of working, because it is super intelligent, super wise. God designed it that way. It is so fascinating and incredible. We're going to be uncovering how the skeletal muscles support, strengthen, and balance while your nervous system keeps the function of your body moving smoothly. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is contracting and how that happens on a cellular level. I think it's important for us to get an understanding of how do our muscles contract? How do the muscles relax? What is going on? We may understand that the brain is saying stuff to the body, saying, hey, move the biceps, get the legs going, pick up the foot. We got to get going. We may understand that like on a broader level, on a conceptual level, saying, yeah, the brain's controlling that. However, there are mechanisms not within the brain that are communicating back up to the brain and giving information to the brains. So it's like a huge network of communication happening inside. The body speaks, the body speaks, the body speaks. It's just so awe-inspiring for me. And I hope that you catch that excitement and you start running with it and start learning about all the beautiful things your body is doing. So in order to understand what is happening, I want us to take us back a little bit and get maybe in the weeds, but take a journey with me. I promise we're not going to stay there long, but I want you to understand how incredible this is. Muscles contract or relax through a process called the sliding filament theory. Now, the sliding filament theory can be looked at like a zipper. If you think about a zipper, zipping it up, zipping it down, zipping it up, or side to side, zippers can go either direction, right? And that is the way that these two key proteins in muscle fibers, actin and myosin, how they react together. So when a muscle contracts because it received a signal from the brain to the muscle to contract. Dr. Brook is going to come to a standing position after she's sitting down recording this podcast. She's going to stand up. So the brain's sending those signals saying, hey, we got to stabilize the core. We got to get the back and the legs going. We got to contract those muscles and then we'll relax them in a moment, right? Back and forth, back and forth. That zipper mechanism, those actin and myosin proteins that are acting on that, is they are like grabbing and releasing, grabbing and releasing. And that is happening because the brain is sending those electrical signals to release calcium and ATP into that muscle fiber, So calcium and ATP get released, and then actin and myosin start doing their thing. So calcium and ATP. ATP, really brief note on that, is the energy that is produced by the mitochondria. Mitochondria are the biggest energy producers of energy in your body. And they Mitochondria are the biggest ATP producers in your body, and ATP is that energy that you need to keep every single system functioning. It's why when you do have low blood sugar, you start getting hangry because your body is running out of resources to do what it needs to do. Now, of course, you're not going to pass away and by going hungry for 20 minutes or an hour or 2 hours or days on end. But you could for a long extended period of time with no energy coming into the mix, of course. But I don't mean to digress into morbid thinking at all. So ATP, super, super important to keeping your muscles contracting and relaxing. It's needed for other processes in the body. As we come out of those weeds, now that you have a little bit of an overview understanding at how muscles contract at a cellular level or how they relax at a cellular level, I think it's important to talk about some benefits of strength training. Why is it important to keep these muscles of our body strong, to keep them functioning, to keep them doing? Multiple reasons. I want to go through 3 of those reasons here today and just dive into each of those little by little. But longevity is a huge, huge, huge one. The stronger the muscles we have, the longer our ability to do things in life is. And the ability to do things and move and groove and go actually helps us live longer. So if you've seen elderly people, you might see somebody who, let's just use the age 80 years old. Now, maybe you've seen some 80-year-olds on the pickleball court, running around chasing balls, doing what they need to do, really active. And then other times you could see an 80-year-old who's chair bound or bed bound and not cognitively there. Our muscles really help with cognitive function as well. So keeping our body moving and grooving also keeps our brain in a really tip-top shape. So it's very, very important to build and preserve your muscle mass, not only for maintaining independence, but also having mobility, cognitive function, all of the things. Healthy balance of blood sugar, which leads me into the next one. One of the benefits of strength training is metabolism, an increase in your metabolism rate. A term that they use a lot is basal metabolic rate, BMR. If you've worked with a trainer, you may have heard that. If you've worked with a nutritionist, you may have heard that. Essentially, what is BMR? In the simplest way of putting it, it's the rate at which your body burns through its fuel source, burns through its ATP, burns through the calories that you've given it. And if you have a faster metabolism because you're healthier, sidebar note here, some people have a fast metabolism and they're not healthy. Their body is burning things through too quickly, and that needs to get slowed down. Most of the time, though, however, you will see people with slower metabolism function that actually need to get that BMR sped up. And that BMR is not just working to burn fat cells. It's not when you're running on a treadmill or on a Stepmaster machine at the gym and you're seeing that number where it says you've burned 30 calories. You very well may have burned 30 calories in that step, in that exercise routine that you were doing. However, that BMR, that basal metabolic rate, you're burning calories while you're at work, while you're sitting at your desk. You're burning calories as your body is using resources to keep your heart beating and your lung breathing and all of the gastrointestinal things going on and your kidneys filtering and all the stuff that's happening. That metabolism is working in the background. Now, it's not burning things, or it's not burning through fuel quickly. You're not going to just sit in your office chair and be like losing 15 pounds. That is not what I'm saying. I am just saying that your metabolism rate it does not stop. Like you don't, because you got off the Stairmaster, that your body is no longer burning calories. It is absolutely burning calories, just not at the level that it was when you're in active exercise and your heart is pumping, pumping, pumping. I want to mention here, I think it's important when we talk about metabolism and what strength training does in terms of not only strengthening the muscles, but increasing the metabolism, on how important it is to get your blood sugar stabilized. blood sugar is the foundation of your health. Stabilizing and making sure you have a healthy, balanced blood sugar is going to make the biggest difference in all aspects of health. A dysregulated blood sugar is going to cause like more pain, difficulty healing. It's going to make things very, very difficult to actually get where you want to go with this body that God gave you and doing what you need to be doing if your blood sugar is dysregulated. One of the things I highly, highly, highly caution people against is semaglutides. Semaglutides are things like Ozempic, GLP-1 receptor drugs that work on that receptor. You may see those terms, these shots that people are doing to lose weight. This weight is actually being dropped because you're losing muscle mass inside. So you may feel skinny on the outside. You may look great. You may fit in 3 sizes less than you did 3 or 4 weeks ago. But what is going on internally? What is happening internally to the body on the inside? I don't mean to be so crass when I say this, but it's like you may feel beautiful on the outside and you may feel really great about yourself on the outside, but on the inside, it's getting uglier and uglier. And it's so damaging and it eats this muscle mass up so much. And these muscles that you build, that you get strengthened, that you're keeping alive by just having normal movement in your world, and you're eating great food and you're keeping your balanced sugar or your blood sugar balanced. These muscles are called sugar pits. They can be known as sugar pits. So the bigger muscle groups in your body are known as sugar pits. And these actually help you healthily lose weight because they pull the sugars into them and get the sugar out of your bloodstream so that you can actually utilize it for energy and healthy energy. So you're not having a spike of energy and then a crash, spike of energy and a crash. These muscles act as sugar pits, and they help you, if you get good, strong muscles going, to lose lasting weight loss, to have lasting weight loss, instead of turning ugly inside so you can look beautiful on the outside. Like, why not have both? You can absolutely have both. The other thing that strength training does to help is it helps your mental health. It helps your mental health when we are properly utilizing and exercising our muscles and maintaining strength and balance and vitality. We're releasing endorphins when we're working out. We're reducing anxiety. We're improving that cognitive function that I've mentioned already. It works wonders, and we start to feel better on the outside, and we start to see skin complexions clear, and we start to feel less pain in our body, and our inside and our outside body both look beautiful. So all that to say, there's so many beautiful benefits of strength training, but there's also some common exercise routine mistakes. And I want you to avoid these common exercise routine mistakes so that you don't hurt yourself while trying to build good muscle mass so that you can have health and vitality. First things first, overtraining without recovery. A lot of people, especially when they make the commitment to start going to the gym, or I'm going to make a change and I'm going to start working out more, what they do is they overexert themselves, either in that one workout time frame. So maybe they go to the gym on a Friday after work and they're like, yeah, we're going, go, 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 so hard, 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 hard. And they rip a tendon, or not, it may not even be as drastic as that, but they just have super, super, super sore muscles the next day. A phenomenon called DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, like getting that muscle soreness, like, wow, I felt great. And then all of a sudden, oh, yeah, move. I can't move any aspect of my body, right? We don't want that aspect to happen. So don't overly do it. Really feel into your body. And I smile when I share that because it's one thing I've been encouraging you is to really tune into your body. So a lot of times we feel like we don't know where to start. We get in there and we're like, what do we need to do? How can we get this ball going? And I'll give you a few different things in terms of designing a weekly workout plan at the end of this segment. But what I want to say is go in there. Don't do excessive heavy weight. Do maybe, 10 reps of something that feels manageable. Now, if it feels too light where you're flinging your elbows up and you're doing some bicep curls and you're just flinging it up, that you might be using way too less of a weight. If it's a little bit strenuous, you can feel a good pull in that bicep muscle as you're pulling up, maybe like a 10-pounder to start with. And you're like, okay, this is good. 10 reps is generally a good sweet spot in initially when you're starting. Okay. Initially when you're starting, those of you who do go to the gym a lot may feel like 10 reps. Are you kidding me? But we got to start in an area where your body can actually handle it, where you're not causing damage in the long run. Exercise is a double-edged sword. So exercise is both good for you and in overdose amounts can be very, very bad for you because it does cause inflammation. You are breaking down some of the muscle tissues to build up muscle tissues. So benefit, yes, positive, but also a negative because of that inflammation. We don't want too much inflammation. We want that inflammation getting cleared up while you're resting, while you're sleeping after working out. So do not overtrain and then don't skip rest days. It's important to have a certain rest day. And again, I'm going to talk about a plan that you can kind of work around and do that may work for you as you're developing this skill of tuning into your body and where you feel like you may need a little bit of guidance to work through. I'll provide that for you, but I really want you to start developing that body. What do we need right now? Like, what do we need? You can have framework to ask the questions in. So you're not just asking these very broad questions of where do we start at the gym? Well, there's 50 machines here. What do I need to do? Right? There could be a framework and I will offer that to you. The other thing is neglecting proper form. So if you're doing a bunch of bicep curls because you have too light of a weight, or you then pick up a weight that is a little bit more resistant and you're feeling a little bit more of a pull on that bicep, but you're standing off to the side like this with your hip. Sorry for those of you listening. I've thrown my hip off to the side. If you're sideways like this, you're not in a good form. You need to be in a proper form with your feet grounded on the ground, or if you're sitting on a bench with your shoulders pulled back as you're pulling those muscles up. This is not about trying to push yourself like above and beyond your capabilities in very poor posture. Poor technique actually reduces the effectiveness. It increases your injury risk. Hello, we don't, again, we want to be able to work out our body in a way that's conducive for building those muscles and not breaking them down. Another common mistake is focusing only on one type of exercise. I say this a lot. I don't know if I've ever said it on any of these episodes, but the body loves diversity. The body loves diversity. If the body knows that I'm going to wake up every single morning and I'm going to get on my treadmill and I'm going to go for 20 minutes at maybe a speed of 3 and a 0 incline, it is not going to do nothing for me. It is not. Maybe my heart's going to get a little bit stronger and it's going to be pumping, but I'm not going to be seeing any progress in losing any fat. I'm not going to see any progress in building any muscle mass. And in fact, I'll probably increase my cortisol because working out does increase your cortisol. That's part of that double-edged sword I forgot to mention earlier about the benefits, yes, of working out, but also inflammation and increased cortisol. So you want to work in a way that is helpful for your body and not working against it and trying to slam your head against the wall going, why aren't you losing weight? And why aren't we getting skinny? Well, we're not doing things correctly. We got to do things correctly to your body. So diversity. Do not focus on one exercise all the time. We need to change it up. And ignoring flexibility, mobility, or cardiovascular health can lead to imbalances. So when we're doing only strength training and no cardio or any stretching or balancing, any of those kind of activities, we are not supporting our bodies. Let's talk about building out a framework of a workout plan that may be helpful for you. One of the things is including, as I mentioned in this last statement, including a mix of strength training 2 to 3 days a week, having a flexibility, mobility exercises like stretching or doing certain warm-ups, maybe going out for a bike ride, going kayaking, something different, like a different mobility exercise than you normally would be doing. And then other things like active recovery. Active recovery days would be things like walking, other things like really deep stretching, like really getting into deep stretches, really moving those muscles and stretching them out. So an example plan may look like this. It's Monday and you want to do about 20 minutes and you want to do maybe, strength training, upper body. So you're going to focus on core and arms, like a 20-minute workout. A great resource, and there's so many of them, especially when you're first starting out, even if you don't want to go to the gym or you don't have time to go to the gym, there are so many different, if you type in like upper body, body weight exercises, you will find so many videos, 10-minute videos, 12-minute, 20-minute, so forth, however much time you can dedicate per day. 15 to 20 minutes is ideal as you're getting started. And then you'll also build up in your ability to do the certain exercises. But these videos are great because they can be paced to you. Obviously, you can pause it if you're not finishing the reps as fast as the person, the trainer who's doing it. But it also allows you to switch things up. So let's say Monday you do that, and then Tuesday you decide with the 15, 20 minutes that you have that you're going to go for a brisk walk. Now, brisk walk, I don't mean just perusing the mall. What I mean by brisk walk is really taking mindful steps and getting a little bit of that heart moving, getting that heart beating, maybe in an incline on a hill, maybe there's a park, maybe there's a trail or something that you can go on 15 to 20 minutes on that Tuesday. And then Wednesday, you focus on a back, like a strength training for your back muscles. So like upper body, core, and arms. And then the other one, you focus more on your extensors, on your back muscles on Wednesday. And then Thursday, you do another brisk walk. Maybe you switch up the way you went. Maybe one day you went on a trail, the other day you went to the park. Or maybe one day you walked counterclockwise on the trail. The next day you walk clockwise on the trail. It did that backwards in the video. And then Friday, you do lower body. You focus on glutes, you focus on hamstrings, you focus on your quads, your leg muscles, all those different muscles in that. And then Saturday, maybe you do some stretching. Maybe you do some like an activity, a bike ride, a 15-minute bike ride. And then Sunday you rest. Sunday you rest. You don't do anything. As you're doing this, let's say over the 6 days, right? We mentioned Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, those 6 days, and you're switching things off. And then maybe the following week, you do 3 days of more of the walking, brisk walking activities like bike riding or kayaking, stand-up paddleboard, whatever activity that you do in your environment. I understand not everybody's living next to the ocean or a lake or biking trails or what, but there are other activities wherever you are. So that's an example of a workout plan that you can do when you're first starting out. And then as you're starting to build these muscles, you're going to start to notice that your body wants maybe a little bit more reps or added weights or added bands to things if you're doing just body weight exercises. And that is going to really help your muscles build the strength so that they can relax and contract and keep that blood sugar balance and keep the cognitive functioning going and keep the heart healthy and all the things that we need good, strong muscles for. One quick caveat that I want to make here is when you're doing strength training on the days that you're doing actual strength training exercises, upper body, lower body, all those things, is it would be really good to get a high quality electrolyte in to replenish the minerals in your body as you're burning through those, so that the inflammation and the higher cortisol that is produced as in terms of working out, it helps your body heal faster when it has the minerals that it needs. And of course, you can always incorporate a high quality protein source as well, because protein is going to help rebuild back that tissue. The muscles are so incredible. I don't want to move on to the nervous system until I just briefly tell you that your muscles are so incredible and they're doing so much work, and we can't forget about them in this process of trying to get healthy and trying to keep everything balanced, that we got to keep these muscles healthy and functioning so that we can stay healthy and functioning and have our chronological age be different from the age that our test results or that our body is actually showing. Because isn't it cool to like show up and get those test results and see that, oh my gosh, like I'm a 40-year-old right now, but my body is a 35-year-old. Like, how cool is that, right? That's ideal. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see it the other way around. All right, all right. Now we're talking about the connecting aspect of the nervous system and the brain's ability to govern movement, our moods, our memories, our sleep cycles, all the things. And it's so incredible and it's so vast. And I can't even get into the depths of all of it in this segment, but I do want you to have higher level understanding of it. Before we dive in, brief overview. The nervous system connects your brain to your spinal cord and all the peripheral nerves that go out to your big toes, to all your fingers, all the things. And they help control muscle movement. They regulate your emotions. They store memories. They do all the stuff to keep all of your organs functioning and everything going. We have efficient communication between our neurons, which are the cells in the brain and in the spinal cord, that ensure smooth motor coordination and cognitive clarity. So these nerve cells are working and connecting and doing what they need to do to send information. Oh my gosh, I can do an entire segment on just how one nerve cell, it has to hit a certain electrical signal, like it has to hit a certain amount of hertz in order for the signal to go through. So if it does not hit that level, that signal will just die out. It will not get through. And so constantly as these nerves are firing and going, it's hitting this 70 mark, this threshold. And oh my gosh, I'm totally in the weeds of physiology, but this is so fascinating. So it has to hit this threshold every single time for that nerve impulse to go off. It is so crazy because the amount of things that could go wrong in the body, and this is not to scare anybody, but the amount of things that could go wrong and the amount of things that don't go wrong, because everything is going and there's so much intelligence in the body. And if one thing is failing, the body will pick up in another area and really help support. And so if it's not hitting that 70, maybe that nerve cell, it's like they figure out what needs to be done to get it to that level. And then it continues, but it's so incredible. So incredible. So that's how the nervous system works, is these cells are actually, these neurons are not touching each other, that they send a communication signal through one whole aspect of this nerve. And it goes through this synaptic cleft. It's like an in-between. So you have a presynaptic junction, so one end of the nerve cell, and then there's this cleft, this in-between state, and it sends neurotransmitters through, and it goes through this cleft and it connects onto this postsynaptic junction, and this postsynaptic junction continues the rest of the communication. So this is happening all throughout, all like this entire time I've been talking, all these things have been happening. One of the things that a lot of people are aware of, and I'm sure you as my listeners are aware of this, is the vagus nerve and the role of the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve actually makes up one of the 12 cranial nerves that we have sitting in our brainstem, and we have pairs of each, right? So we have a left and a right, a left and a right, a left and a right. So we have a pair of vagus nerve. And so we have a left vagus nerve and a right vagus nerve that leaves the brain and goes down and it innervates all of the organs. Innervate means simply it sends signals to all of the organs, to the heart, to the lungs, to the kidneys, to the liver, gallbladder, all the things. And that vagus nerve is the main nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic simply means rest and digest. When you're doing a lot of working out, when you're doing a lot of contracting and relaxing of those skeletal muscles, we want to go back into a period of rest and digest so that the body can actually heal and utilize all of the tissue that just got built up from those workouts. The vagus nerve also helps lower heart rate, regulate digestion, promote relaxation. We may know when we're in a state of fight or flight with our shoulders up by our ears. That is the sympathetic nervous tone going. And we all may know about the fight flight nervous system where our blood is getting shunted to our arms and legs, and we don't want that. So our bodies has that rest and digest mechanism in it to keep things in balance. There are times when we need to be running, and there are times when we need to be resting and digesting, and it's important for that. We can stimulate our vagus nerve through humming, through deep gargling, having your head back in a deep, deep gargle. We can do it through cold exposure. We can do it through deep breathing, 4-7-8 breathing. I love 4 seconds in, 7 seconds hold, 8 seconds exhale. And that can help reduce stress and improve overall health. So a healthy functioning vagus nerve, which is only one of 12 other cranial nerves, but is a very important one. We're not going to spend a lot of time going through the rest of the 11, but they are very, very important to keeping all of this function, your face, everything going. The fact that you can smile and move your tongue and taste things, those are all cranial nerves. But we're highlighting vagus nerve because it's that important for the rest of the function of the body. Simple exercises to improve your neural communication. How can we help the brain communicate better? Mindful walking is one of them. So I mentioned in the terms or in the exercise section, in the contracting section, that doing brisk walking can be helpful. Well, brisk walking and mindful walking you can do them simultaneously. It's not about running when you're walking, but it's just being mindful when you're walking. So focus on how your feet hit the ground. Focus on how you're breathing and the movements of your arms. You should have a cross-body movement when you're walking. So if your right foot is forward, your left arm should also be forward. If your left foot is forward, your right arm should be forward. And it should be in that swing mechanism. This is very, very, very healthy for your basal ganglia function, which is an aspect in the brain that is very important for dopamine production. If you've ever experienced anybody with Parkinson's disease, their basal ganglia is not functioning the way that it should, and you'll see this shuffle kind of gait, no longer that arm swing and that cross body swing. So left arm forward, right foot forward, right arm forward, left foot forward. Also, balance drills. Balance drills help this neural communication, especially with your cerebellum, is practice standing on one foot or using a balance board. A lot of different parks and gyms have these things as well to strengthen the connection between your muscles and your nervous system. So balancing, keeping your eyes straight, seeing, oh, I'm falling over after 15 seconds. When you're doing your exercises and your work, you can incorporate some balance exercises after your workout or prior to your workout, just to kind of see how you're building balance as well. So here are some real live examples on how deep breathing impacts cortisol and brain health. So taking slow, deep breaths. I talked about the 4-7-8 breathing already, but deep breaths activate that parasympathetic, that rest and digest, which reduces stress hormones like cortisol. It is so powerful to take all of your exercise and all of the strength training you just did and then, going into the relaxation and doing mindful breathing. after those workouts. So you're bringing your body in a state of balance. You're bringing that cortisol down, not just like racing off to work. And that creates a ripple effect because lower cortisol improves your focus, your memory, and your mood. So that 4-7-8 breathing technique, if you do try it, do about 3 to 4 reps at a time. 4 seconds in, 7 seconds hold, 8 seconds out, and really reset that rest and digest vagal tone in your body. That is probably the quickest overview I've ever done on the brain. I can do an entire class on this, which I may one day because it is super, super exciting and something that I want you guys to learn about because it's important to understand an aspect of how your body functions so that you get better and better in asking certain questions about your body. You don't have to have a PhD in anatomy, a PhD in biochemistry or physiology or all the things. It's not about that. It's just understanding how your body functions on a bigger level so that you can ask better questions to find out how you can support it. So you start building out these frameworks because ultimately this podcast is all about teaching you about the intelligence of your body, how you can communicate with it, how you can be in tune with it, and really start experiencing health on such greater and greater and greater levels because you are doing things for you and not just based on something that you heard sounded great for the general population. Because let's face it, there's a lot of great information out there, does not mean it's right for you. Next episode, we are going to be discussing perception, how our body takes in senses and the pulsing of our circulation system, how that movement in the body, what it's doing and what it's for, and how we can support it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for spending time with me and learning all these valuable lessons. Please do like, subscribe, share, leave a review, all those things, whatever you need to do to help spread this word, spread this message, and get it far and wide. Appreciate you so much. Again, thank you for listening, and we will see you on the next one.